Hey everyone, I hope you had a great day. Today we are looking at some new r/I do work here lady stories. I hope you enjoy them. The first story is called Only Hired for What? I'm a really small girl who was 22 at the time and also 6 months pregnant. I was working in a tech store. We sold computers, laptops, phones, music devices, Bluetooth speakers, cables and so on. We also did lessons where people could sit with us for an hour and we would teach them about how to use their devices. Generally, this was taken up by older people who weren't so tech knowledgeable. One day, there was no one in the store, so my coworkers decided to do a clear out of loads of junk in the back room. Since I was pregnant and there was going to be heavy lifting, they had me manning the floor. Since there was no one in, this basically meant I was just floating about, daydreaming, until a guy comes in. The uniform was black jeans and a bright blue t-shirt with the store logo on the front and back, and a white lanyard with the store name and then worker's name on it. I was wearing this at the time. I go up to the guy and ask if he needs any help. He asks if there are any men available to help him. I tell him that whilst there are other staff in, they are currently busy in the back and will not be available to help customers for some time. I asked him what he wanted help with. He said, "Listen honey, you're in a delicate condition right now. I wouldn't want to stress your pretty head now, would I?" What the heck? I calmly told him that I would be perfectly fine dealing with his issue, but if he wanted to wait for another 2 hours, another member of staff may be available then. He smirks at me and then asks about one of the laptops on show. He tells me he wants a gaming computer. Not that you know anything about it, sweetheart. I then give my most jargon-filled speech about the laptop and point out that it is not at all suited for gaming, and that if he was set on a laptop, he would be best picking another model. I point out the best one suited to this, give a jargon speech about that one too, and then smile as sweetly as I can at him and ask if he's still following. He seems aghast and actually gasps at me. I was trying so hard not to laugh at him. He asks how I know all that stuff. I tell him I've been gaming since I was 6 years old, build computers for fun and have PlayStation, Xbox, PC and a laptop for gaming. I know my stuff. There's a reason I was hired here. He says nothing for a moment and then, "But I thought girls in jobs like this were just to make it look nice and because they have to or something." No sir. I'm one of the most knowledgeable workers in the store, aside from the manager." Then he just walks out, and when he gets to the door, I hand him the leaflet we have for the lessons. "If you need anything else explained to you, I'd be happy to help you figure it out, sir." And off he went. I was so mad that he actually had the gall to speak like that to anyone, let alone a very hormonal pregnant person. God, I wanted to just rip him to pieces. He generally seemed to think I was only hired because by the laws of discrimination they had to have at least one female member of staff, and that I was therefore hired to attract male customers with my looks. I know this behavior still exists, but I didn't expect to have it shoved in my face like that. What do you think about today's stories? Let me know in the comment section below. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel to grow. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. The next story is called He Got Fired for This. Years ago, I worked doing call center tech support for a legitimate US-based company. We served mostly elderly clients. The way it worked was that they'd pay a subscription and we were on call 24/7 as much as they needed. We could remotely access their PCs to fix them and log in to show them how to do something. Low-level computer training, on par with basic computer classes you might see at a community college. This service wasn't cheap, easily in excess of $100 a month, but justifiable given that most customers would call a couple of times a week for one thing or another and could take a couple of hours per call. Several of our customers were deaf and they would call us via a teletype service. For those who don't know, the deaf caller types via text chat or signs via video chat with a third-party service who then calls and speaks for them, relaying the message over the phone to the person on the other end. They are supposed to be impartial and convey messages word for word. It's essentially a translator job. You don't inject commentary into the discussion, just relay the message as precisely as possible. However, some of the smaller services only staff a few dozen operators and have frequent dealings with the same customers, so there's a sense of familiarity that can arise, and sometimes that impartiality is compromised. And it's a hard job to fill. You need someone who has typing skills rivaling a court reporter and fluent in ASL, willing to work many hours for minimum wage. So sometimes they just put up with bad employees to maintain staffing. A customer called us using one such teletype service for helping removing some malware from his computer. Initially, all went according to plan. In the course of removing the malware, he needed to reboot his PC, which means he would be disconnected from the teletype operator who he was communicating with via the PC. So when the computer reboots, I reconnect to his PC and he connects to the service again. This time he gets a different operator, some guy named Jared, who he apparently had interacted with before. Mind you, the call was unnecessary. I can see his computer screen and everything he's typing to the teletype operator. I could have chatted with him directly through the PC, but it wasn't my call. So this Jared dude, serving as our go-between, decides I'm a scammer and he's going to warn my customer. He starts putting words in my mouth, things I did not say, completely unaware I can see all of this on the customer's computer. He remarks that he can't understand me through my heavy Indian accent. I'm a white guy, born in the US, and couldn't fake a convincing Indian accent if I tried. He starts getting mildly racist, explaining to my customer that part of his disability is that he can't hear my accent, and if he could, he would hang up immediately and know it was a scam. Although, to be honest, he's not wrong, just lying about me having such an accent. He keeps making these little asides with the customer, which I can see in the chat, telling him I don't actually work for the company I claim to work for, and warning him not to give me a credit card number. I never asked for one. He's a subscriber. I've had his number for years and charge a predetermined amount monthly per hour contract. He doesn't work for the company. They are just saying that, lying about you having a computer virus to take your money. That company would never hire a guy like him. I get how he can think that. We've all seen this scam before. In the right context, it's not bad advice. But he doesn't have all the facts, like that the customer has been my client for years, that we have a contract and he was getting charged the same if he called me or not. This wasn't a case of a customer returning some scammer's voicemail. He was calling a service vendor that he had an existing deal with. So I open up Notepad on Bill's desktop and start typing to him. Sir, I can assure you, I did not ask for a credit card number, nor will I. I can see the chat screen and half of what I'm saying is not being conveyed at all, and most of what he is typing to you I did not say. Also, he's not telling me what you are typing, or when he does, he's conveying it in a very hostile tone. He types back in the Notepad window. Yeah, you're talking to Jared. I've dealt with him before. He's an idiot. Sorry. He's supposed to quote us word for word, but I've had some suspicion about him for a while. Complained a few times, but nothing ever comes of it. So I addressed Jared. Hey Jared, you realize I can see Bill's screen as we talk, right? I do work for this company, and I can prove it. Dead silence. You want to put your supervisor on the phone there, buddy? I'd love to show him these chat logs, and of course I'm recording the call on my end. I sent him a copy. So Bill got his teletype service comp for a few months. Many apologies from the service. Jared got fired. I removed the malware. And the customer reached out to me via email, thanking me a few weeks later. And he had a few stories to tell. Apparently, he learned from the others at the teletype company that Jared had been up to some other shenanigans as well. Customers he didn't like, he would do passive-aggressive stuff, like mess up pizza orders and dinner reservations. Or accidentally transpose numbers, so credit cards would be declined, or people would be unable to make a return phone call. He had a long history of douchebaggery that could be summed up to minor mistakes, but judging by the frequency and nature must have been deliberate. His employer apparently didn't keep good records or retain call recordings for very long, so the company had a hard time firing him. This one time, he actually broke the rules, really trying to help a customer. He honestly thought I was a scammer and he was trying to do something good, and forgot that other call centers keep really good records and be willing to share them. The next story is called Not Your Personal Assistant. Last year, I was working at the customer service desk at a mall, answering phone calls, helping customers, selling gift cards, and so on. One day, I get a phone call from an older sounding woman. "Hi, I recently bought a washing machine from you and need to know how it works." "Hi, I'm guessing you're trying to get through to the appliance store. This is the front desk for the mall. I'll transfer you through to the store." No, I don't want to be put on hold again. Can you just help me?" "I don't know much about washing machines, sorry. The people from the appliance store would be much more helpful." We went back and forth like this for a bit, but she really didn't want her call to be transferred, so I said I'd do my best to help her. Turns out there wasn't anything wrong with the specific washing machine. She just didn't know how to use washing machines at all. So I told her how to turn it on and put the powder in. About 30 minutes later, I get another call from this woman. This time she wanted me to tell her why her internet wasn't working. I offered to find the number for her internet provider. But no, she wanted me to fix this. Turns out she just needed to restart her modem, so that was an easy fix, but still frustrating when I had an actual job to be doing. About a week goes by and I haven't heard from her. She then shows up at the mall and asks for me by name. She goes up to my desk, which my manager directed her to, and hands me an envelope full of cash and says, "My power bill is due. I need you to pay it." This was the final straw for me. And after telling her multiple times that I wasn't going to do that for her, and her not listening and getting very worked up, I ended up calling security on her and having her removed from the mall. Thanks for watching the video. If you had fun watching the video, please subscribe to the channel for more content. And please let me know what you think about the video in the comment section below. Have a great day. Bye bye.